And you can't split the IRA up. You
No.
can't say, all right, we're going to make 3 different IRAs and have 3 different owners. Let's go to Heather from Irvine, California. Hi, Andy, Big Al, Joe, big fan of the podcast. So she emailed you directly. I'm guessing the website's down.
Probably.
I'm hoping that you might be able to help brainstorm some ideas for my family. One of my stepsisters passed away a few years ago, and she left her IRA valued at $160,000 to my other stepsister's son. When she first set up her account, she only had one nephew. The family grew, and she ended up having another niece and nephew prior to her passing. My sister knows that she would have wanted to leave equal shares of the IRA to all 3 children. She passed away prior to the change that requires withdrawal to 10 years. So they are able to leave the money in until RMD age, which is 2039.
That's false.
Yeah, right. So Heather, we got some work to do here. So she passed away prior to the change that requires withdrawal in 10 years. So she passed prior
to 2018.
18, the Secure Act.
Yep.
So no, if they haven't taken an RMD, there's some issues here. So they're still an RMD, but they take it out over their life expectancy. So if there hasn't been any RMDs on the non-spousal beneficiaries, the non-spouse beneficiaries,
that's where it gets tricky.
In the ass.
Right.
So the nephew or the niece needed to start taking RMDs. So if they hadn't, there's a 50% penalty for each year that they haven't taken the RMD. The RMD is based on that person's age. So,
right. And so you could be 2 years old and still have to take a required minimum distribution. These were the old rules, and that was called the stretch IRA, right? So you stretch it over your lifetime. So if you're 2 years old and you're supposed to live till age 80, let's just say, then you're taking a really low percentage out. Now, if you're 75, you're going to take a much higher percentage out, but you've got the required minimum distributions based upon the age that you're at. Now, the rules are totally different now, which means if you receive an inherited IRA right now, you got to take it out within 10 years.
Yeah, and you don't have to take anything out. You can take it out all
in the 10th year.
On the 10th year, yeah. The kids' ages are 24, 21, and 15. So the RMD is based on the 24-year-old because I guess the 21 and 15-year-old weren't born yet.
Well, they did, but they don't get any because they weren't beneficiaries.
No, yeah. So the 24-year-old is the beneficiary.
Yeah.
The 24-year-old needed to take RMDs when she inherited or he inherited. I forget if it's a niece or nephew. Son.
Nephew.
Okay. So the oldest son is going to college for the next couple of years in working part-time. We are trying to figure out how to split the money between the kids. Since he isn't making much money now, would it be better to pull it out now and set up accounts for the other kids? I'm not certain if he could just pull out their shares and leaves his in. The other issue is not wanting to hand over such a large sum of money to young people that might not know how to manage it, and the tax implications on the trust fund don't seem like a great option. Could it be better to leave the money in the IRA until RMD age and then have him give the money to the other 2 siblings every year? They would most likely be prime earning years, so the taxes might not be favorable. Is it possible to put the IRA into a trust that their mom manages? Everyone is at a loss about how to handle the situation. Hoping you have some ideas. I appreciate you taking the time to read this and for your spitball. I live in Irvine. Enjoy a good Moscow Mule. I drive a 2015 Maserati.
That's pretty good, Heather.
A Ghibli with a smiley face.
So the first thing I'll say, this comment, my sister knows that she would have wanted to leave equal shares to the IRA to all 3 of the children. That doesn't carry any legal weight whatsoever. So really the money is the nephew's and it's his money. I mean, if he wants to share it, great, but it's not up to you guys to say you got to share it with your siblings. That's the legal ramifications of what she did.
Right. So that's the issue. The beneficiary trumps all. And so it's a conversation with the nephew. So first off, there's mistakes going on right off the bat.
Right.
Is that the nephew needs to take RMDs. All right. So let's say you take out, And you can't split the IRA up. You
No.
can't say, all right, we're going to make 3 different IRAs and have 3 different owners.
No, you can't do that. You can disclaim IRAs, but that has to be within 9 months after receiving it.
Right. It sounds like this is a little bit later.
longer. Yeah.
And so you have to be, so square one is that the nephew needs to take RMDs. Secondly, you need to talk to the nephew and say, hey, listen, you inherited this $160,000. And I know that your aunt really probably wanted you to go to all 3 kids. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
And then he's going to say, well, sounds good. Let's figure it out. Or you know what? Go
no
pound sand.
This is my
talk to my attorney. Right. I'm going to college. Peace out. Well, maybe I don't go to college now. I got 160 grand. I'm going to get a Maserati. So how you split this thing up is it's gonna be ugly, because you're gonna have to take a full distribution on the 160. It's gonna be taxed at the nephew's rates,
right,
which is gonna be 24%.
and if he's okay with that, if he's okay with it, then he's basically paying the tax on it and then gifting the money out. So I assume he gifts out the net. I don't know how you'd work this out.
You look at 160 and there's probably 70. So it's probably 100 grand, 110 grand after tax,
Yeah.
give or take. But then you got to include the penalties because they didn't take the RMD.
Well, we don't
We're
know
assuming
that for
that?
sure, but yeah.
But let's just say it's 112 or $100,000. And then,
Right.
all right. So each kid gets $33,000.
Yeah, whatever
With
the
some
number is.
change.
Yep.
If you're naming your trust as the beneficiary of your retirement account, I highly recommend you don't do that, right? Because the only reason why you would want to name a trust as the beneficiary, if you want to control the money from the grave. And it's probably not a great idea because a lot of it's going to just get eaten up by taxes. Then, right, you might have people on your beneficiary form that you don't want to be a beneficiary anymore, right? So always check that. That's one of the most important estate planning documents that you own. So everyone that listens to this show, all 5 of you, please check your account beneficiary forms because it's really important. We got to take a break. Show's called Your Money or Wealth.
Are you prepared for retirement? Schedule a free financial assessment with an experienced financial professional right online at purefinancial.com.